Greetings YouTube, Pixar Prime 10 here, and it feels good to be back. You guys don't need to pester me for this one. Here is my review of the 2022 Hess Toy Truck. That's right, it may not even be Halloween yet, but if any of you fellow Hess Truck collectors are anything like me, the Hess Truck is an official mark that the holiday season is here. I have a lot to say about this truck, but before we can get to it, we have to look at the box, which is clean, simple, gets the job done, and isn't anything different from the boxes we've seen in the last 6 or 7 years. But on the bottom of the box, there is a tease for an all-new collector's edition truck for the 90th Hess anniversary coming a year from now in fall of 2023. And needless to say, I am excited. But not quite nearly as excited as I am to get this year's truck out of the box. So what do you say we crack it open and have a closer look? And here we have it, the 2022 Hess Flatbed and Hot Rods. Now, every year when the Hess truck is revealed, I can tell if I'm gonna like it or not by my initial reaction to the first time I lay eyes on it. And the first time I laid eyes on this truck, I believe my first words were, I love that. Now, sure, it's just a flatbed with some vehicles on the back, and we've seen that once or twice or actually a lot of times before. And there's a lot of reasons why I love this truck so much, but I think the biggest one has to be the styling of it. The way that they combined an old-fashioned truck with modern Hess styling just looks so good. Now, obviously, the truck draws inspiration from the 2018 Collector's Edition First Hess Truck, which is a remake of the 1982, 83, and 85 Hess trucks. And while the trucks are very similar, you can tell that the new one is a little bit bigger and has a more modern feel to it. And these trucks are so similar yet different that it looks like the old tanker truck has been restored into this new modern flatbed, and I think that is such a cool design concept. Now, like I said, we have seen flatbeds with race cars on the back before, most recently in 2011 and 2016, but to be honest, I never really cared for those trucks. I mean, there's things that I really like about these trucks. I think the 2016 truck is a really cool futuristic take on a flatbed and race car, and 2014 had a more rugged truck NASCAR type of feel to it. So what can I say? Ever since I was a kid, I just loved old-fashioned trucks, and the design and details on this one just absolutely win for me. It ain't hard to tell by looking at this thing that it's sporting all of the usual chrome and Hess logos that we come to expect from a Hess toy truck. Some of my personal favorite details on the truck is the big Hess logo embossed on the back of the truck and the small H embossed in chrome on the truck's grille. And those round headlights? Just perfect. Speaking of round, I even love the wheels on this truck. The tires have a Hess logo embossed, which is always nice to see, and the hubcap of the wheel looks like a star, which I think is really cool. And by the way, it seems like this is also a reference to that collector's edition truck. As always, it's nice to see the mirrors, smokestacks, and bumpers in chrome on the truck, but something I really miss about the Hess trucks is when we could see inside to a molded seat and dashboard. I would love to see that come back. They were able to do it on the 2018 Collector's Edition, so why not here? Speaking of small details that used to be on the trucks, I still wish at least one of the Hess logos would say Hess Gasoline on it. It is a gasoline company after all, and that's where these trucks originated from, so it'd be nice to see that little bit of history still reflected on the trucks. The bed of the truck looks great with that vertical Hess logo and nice chrome handrails running across the edge of the bed. And this is where you will find the ramp that slides out to load up the miniature vehicles that come with this truck. These hideaway ramps are a feature that I'd love to see on Hess trucks. If I'm gonna get a little bit nitpicky, I would have loved to see the design from the 2016's ramp return, but considering it's hidden most of the time, it doesn't matter too much. The ramp lets you load your hot rods right up onto the bed of the truck, and the little grooves for the tires keep the trucks from falling out. You can flip the cars around to face backwards in the bed, which I think looks cool, but because the grooves are not designed for that, they're gonna sit a little bit funny. I would have loved to see the option to have the trucks face both ways ways comfortably. Now, I love the simplistic paint job on this truck, but part of me can't help but wonder, would it have looked really cool if this truck had matching flames with the hot rods? As an old school set, they already look great, but I went ahead and put the hot rods next to my 2007 monster truck, and yeah, okay, that's awesome. But it's entirely possible that my love of flames on trucks is because of another franchise entirely. Okay, let's talk about the miniature vehicles that came with this truck. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it. These things are awesome and definitely the highlight of this set. We've gotten tons of miniature race cars from Hess in the past, but these things are just different. I mean, come on, they're old school hot rods. What's not to love? They have a similar resemblance to the dragster that came with the 2016 truck. But like I said, I like old school, so these guys absolutely take the cake for me. Now, these hot rods are a bit on the smaller side, but I wouldn't say that's a bad thing or a good thing because, well, as you know, scale varies wildly with Hess trucks, and these hot rods scale well with some secondary vehicles and not so well with some others. By the way, remember before when I said how good these hot rods looked with the 2007 monster truck? Yeah, they look just as cool next to the motorcycles that came with that truck. Looking at this makes me almost wish one of the hot rods came in white. You know, like all the other secondary Hess vehicles come in a green and a white. But I am so glad they went with red. It makes it pop and makes it different from what we're used to seeing, and actually makes me wish I had a red motorcycle to go with it. Yeah, these things are just awesome. Everything from the chrome engine and exhaust pipes to the big wheel in the back. I can't think of anything that I don't like about these cars. If I had to find something, I wish they would start putting sound effects into the miniature vehicles themselves. I think it would warrant the price going up every year. But seriously, how cool would it be if when you pulled the car back and let it go, you heard an engine sound absolutely rip? Oh, right, almost forgot. These things have a pullback feature. It's no different than any other pullback feature that I've ever seen on a secondary Hess truck, but the box does claim that it has wheelie popping action. I couldn't really get it to work, but that's because I have limited space to work with here. But I can't do everything for you guys. You're gonna have to get the truck and try it out for yourself. On the bottom of the main truck and the hot rods, you'll find a switch to turn on what I believe is the best part of any Hess truck, the lights. And oh boy, do they look good. All three vehicles are equipped with headlights, taillights, light up Hess logos, and more. And the lights themselves look great. They're bright, crisp, and clean on all three vehicles. And when it comes to the truck itself, while the lights look great, there's not a whole lot of them. In fact, with the exception of the taillights and the Hess 2022 plate, there's no lights on the back half of the truck. And it causes the truck to just look a little bit bare when the lights are on in the dark. I would have really loved to see some lights running along the edge of the bed. It just would have filled it out a whole lot better. But regardless of this, the lights that are on the truck look great. And there's just no denying how beautiful these three vehicles look lit up in the dark. On the top of the vehicle, you have 4 buttons that will activate the sound. The first button has no sound but will temporarily activate the flashers on the truck. I think all 3 sound effects sound awesome, and I really love that there's one specifically for the hot rods. Although, remember when I mentioned it would be cool if the hot rods themselves had sound effects? Well, if that was a thing, it would have freed up that slot on the truck to have another sound effect. But other than that, the horn and engine idling sound effects on the truck are exactly what I expected and are a perfect example of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, if you can't tell by now, clearly I love the 2022 Hess Truck. It's not super different from anything else we've seen before, but you know what? That's okay, because for the past few years, Hess has been giving us unique trucks that we've never seen before, which is why for the first time in a while, it's actually nice to see a return to form. And it's done so well, with a beautifully designed truck and 2 vehicles to go with it that look amazing as a set. Now the question remains, is it worth it? Well, for someone like me and a lot of you watching this as Hess Truck collectors, yes, obviously. And as a collector, I'm satisfied. But the truck is up to a $41 retail price, and as it continues to go up year after year, a lot of my nitpicks are starting to edge their way towards actual complaints. But the truck looks great, it feels great, and when it comes down to it, I'm never going to dislike a Hess truck. I might like some more than I like others, and I'm always going to have specific opinions on different trucks. But in the end, I'm just grateful that the Hess Corporation continues to put out these trucks year after year, and I'd like to thank them for keeping this holiday tradition alive for myself and all you fellow Hess truck collectors out there. So what are you waiting for? Can't you tell that this thing is fantastic? Go order yourself one. The link is down in the description below. And that is everything I have to share on the 2022 Hess Truck. I would like to thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, this has been Pixar Prime 10, signing off.